Hi, here we are again. When lacking self love, we often seek a validation and love through others. Empathic people tend to give so much and give their self part away, as we have seen in previous videos, hoping that this will lead to receiving back validation in the form of appreciation, recognition, intimacy, affection, or love. Of course, this is not self love, since we give both ourselves and our love away to others, hoping this may lead to a sense of love in return. And since hope eventually always leads to disappointment, hope is also toxic, it's just delayed disappointment. And the giving yourself away strategy eventually always leads to disappointment. And not only to disappointment, but even worse, to a lack of self love and self rejection. It feels as if we have failed to give ourselves away because it does not indeed lead to love in return. So we start to believe it's because we have not done enough to deserve love in return, and we blame ourselves, thus leading to a lake filled with a lack of self love and self rejection, or even feeling victimized in the end. Empathic people tend to give their attention and love to people who are not truly capable of providing anything positive in return, or at least not the amount of love we would like to receive back from them. The question, of course, is why empathic people tend to feel attracted to the, as I call it, the bread bottomless pit types of people, male or female, I don't care. I have said something about this in previous videos, but I like to add something more. Many empathic people do not really know their value or worth of themselves. If you do not know your own worth for other people, you need validation from others to learn about your value, your self value. If others appreciate your gifts and everything you do for them, you feel validated and you experience self worth. The empathic strategy, our strategy, is as follows. I give you all my love and energy, hoping you will give me self worth and self value in return by validating, appreciating, and recognizing and loving me. But as said, the empath seeks the bread bottomless pits types for its goal. They pour everything they have, all their energy and love, into a bottomless pit type of person. And of course, this bread bottomless pit person is a bottomless pit. And bottomless pits take and give nothing in return, at least not enough to make the empath feel valued, feel validated. An example of bread bottomless pit people is emotionally unavailable people, toxic takers, and SpongeBob type people who soak up your energy like sponges without returning almost anything. So the empath starts doing even more, giving even more, and the bread bottomless pit or SpongeBob types, they just take. That's what they are used to do. They just do what they always do, only take, returning almost nothing. And the empath is still hoping that someday Brad or SpongeBob will crack open and their beautiful soul will start to shine only for the empath. And then they will have succeeded in their mission to make Brad or SpongeBob emotionally available, and their rescue mission will be completed. Not. It rarely goes that way, does it? Thus, we can conclude that if you empathize with self value issues and you are trying to find your value and validation through others, Brad and SpongeBob are just not the right people to get it from. If you look carefully, their energy and traits may even resemble one or both of your parents. And you may understand you are working out a childhood trauma through a potential partner. And this makes it trauma bonding. This makes it a trauma bonding experience. And this will never be successful. This will never be satisfying for you, my dear empath. The main lesson for this kind of empathic people is to learn that they have nothing to prove, nothing to explain, or nothing to defend about their self value or self worth. The main lesson for the empathic person is to understand that they have nothing to make up for from their past and can let go of the guilt that drives them to throw all their energy and love into a bottomless pit. The primary lesson for the empathic person is to be aware that although they try to make another person emotionally available, they may not be so emotionally available to themselves. Because if they were, they would work on their self value issues with and through themselves. But because they are not, and they are actually in denial about their needs, they tend to project their energy and love on tearing down other people's walls while keeping their own emotional walls up, only to end up frustrated, angry, sad, lonely, and victimized themselves, and this way becoming a bottomless pit of self pity themselves. My dear empath, you are unconditional love. You are endless soul energy. And yes, you have been rejected for this. You have been abandoned, betrayed, and deceived for this. You have sacrificed yourself to get a few breadcrumbs of affection. Still, this is only because your love and light are too bright for too many people who cannot handle your inner beauty. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to defend or to explain about your inner being to anyone. You are just beautiful as you are. You are soul. You are unconditional love. You remember your essence. You remember where you came from. There is no need to prove this to anyone or to yourself. Learn this lesson and you will find ways to give your inner treasure to the right people instead of endlessly dumping it into a wishing well of sad and watery eyes of hurt and sadness. Shine on, you crazy diamond, and shine for those that love your light, not your shadow. Just imagine what would happen if two more or less healed empaths joined up for a relationship or connection. And they need to be more or less healed, otherwise, they will never join up because the unhealed empath is only attracted to bread bottomless pit types. But imagine that an empath uses all negative experiences with bread bottomless pit types to finally understand they can still be givers, first to themselves, giving themselves appreciation and validation, and imagine they join up with another empathic person, giving out unconditional love as well. Thus, a bond of unconditional love is created between two empaths. Wouldn't that be a feast of unconditional inner fire that would ignite their world and the outer world as well? And you may say I am a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Yeah, but William, it's so hard and difficult to love myself. Indeed, it is a long way. I really know it for myself, believe me, and I feel you. And much painful effort is needed to get it done. But it is this road, or keep on trying to satisfy a bottomless pit type. Now you decide. I love you. Have a nice day. Thank you.